Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. We're just going to quickly look at the game with Justin, which ended in a draw, but was a fascinating game. So, English opening. It's a good opening. Justin played knight f6, lulling me into a false sense of security that he was going to play some kind of Indian game and then transposed into the reverse Sicilian, which is clever. We got the four knights, which is, I think, the most common and kind of probably the objectively best. I played d3 here, I think, because I'm worried about the Rossolimo, although I think Justin played the Rossolimo anyway, although I got a version where you don't actually get to double the pawns. I suppose you can always play knight d5 anyway, so you can avoid the doubling of the pawns on the white side. Fianchetting the bishop feels right. I mean, that's the way it's going to develop, and it's very thematic in these sort of reversed Sicilians. It's sort of a closed position as well, isn't it? A5 is not that much of a common move, but it's clever. It stops me expanding on the queen side. Develop the bishop, closed. This is a good move to stop the knight getting pinned. That pin can be awkward, particularly if white's then able to play attack the knight with the knight. You can end up doubling those pawns. That happened to me against a very strong blitz player in an important tournament. I don't really like playing e3 here, but it looks like the best move. It's a bit awkward in combination with the fianchetto because basically the d pawn gets weak, which immediately white hits. We defend with the queen. Rook e8's a good move. And then I think, okay, you can play knight h4 here. I didn't really see the point in that, so we played b3. And now, after this push, well, there's only one in the database and white won, but the point is, take knight takes. Looks a bit scary for white, this. I went here. Then Justin played queen e7 instead of queen d7, which looks like a very sensible move. I mean, it's putting it on the open file. Looks sensible. I put the bishop here, which I feel fine about, just attacking g7, which forced a weakening of the structure, and that's pretty helpful. Now, I wasn't so sure about this move. What does the engine say? The engine quite like it. It's best engine move. Way, there's hope for me yet. To be honest, this was one of the more accurate games. The game with Nigel was all over the place, but this one was a more accurate game, I think. So you should really take, well, it wants to take on a8, but this move gives a similar score. So the idea here is actually to get a knight versus bishop where we exploit the light squares around the black king, and this gave us a chance. I mean, it isn't sort of game winning, but it gives us a bit of a pull, I think. Do we want to come to d5 there and fork? I think we do. I think Justin saw it. So now this knight's going to try to see if it can probe some of these light squares. Queen's backing it up. So we take and then play this so we can guarantee the f5 square for the knight. Now this is seen to be dead equal. So what did we do wrong here? Well, the computer didn't like something. What didn't the computer like? Oh, the computer's all right with it. It's tiny. You know, we're basically sound here. It's not swinging all over the place. So I like the knight here, because the point is, if they play g6, you just take on h6. And that's why Justin's played this, probably. Trying to invade somewhere. Covering c4. So this scared me, and the engine likes what I did here. Look, this was a bad move. And what the engine wants is queen c5, which makes perfect sense, although it's invading on the dark squares, not the light squares, which confused me. But it makes, you know, queen c5, queen f8, takes on g7, checkmate. What more could you want? Well. And now this, so now black's better. Takes. So black wants queen d6, which Justin wrote in the notes that he then thought that queen c4 might be a draw. And I see why he thought that, because it looks like it's a bit perpetually. Or, you know, there's certainly some checks. Very hard to judge. I suppose what's nice about queen d6 is you would want to put a rook behind a passed pawn, so you're putting the queen behind the passed pawn. And, you know, black's a bit better because it's got better pawns. they're less vulnerable, and he's got a protected pass pawn. And after g5, there is just basically not a perpetual, but the engine agrees it's virtually a perpetual. Because, well, because if sort of black says, right, I'm going to come out, you know, I'm coming out, as the song goes. You could say check this way. And then if you try and put the queen in the way, there's a check there that's pretty powerful. That wins the game. So the point is, it's pretty hard to get out. And I think Justin was just very objective about it and just said, oh, it's a draw. So that was an informative game. Taught me some opening theory. Please feel free to challenge me back, Justin, or not. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm doing them all on video these days. I'm going to try and do some maths videos, but I'm sure I'll do some. Look after yourself, and thanks for the game.